he's really taking this movie seriously, because let's keep it a buck. This is game 7 in the finals, and it's Kobe. You gonna make the shot, you gonna miss the shot. That's exactly what this is for James Gunn. Welcome to DC Rises episode 4. It's a new week. It's Wednesday. It's time for DC Rises. Let's get into it. Up first, we hear the first projections for the Flash movie. A site that does projections for upcoming blockbuster movies released its projections, and I want to talk about them. So the first box office projections are in, and what do we have? Yes, it's called Box Office Pro. They are estimating between $115 and $140 million domestic opening weekend. That's pretty nice. I like the way that looks. That's a pretty good slot. The total projection is between $280 to $375 million domestically. That means only here in the United States. I think that's a good number, but I think that those numbers are a little bit reserved. I think that this movie's going to come in on the high end of the 375. I think that this thing could hit 400 million domestically, especially once the word of mouth starts happening. I believe a lot of legs is going to be with this movie. It means it's going to go week 2, week 3, week 4. People want to go see this movie because it's so freaking epic. I think that this can make $400 to $450 million domestically. I believe this is going to be a lot like Wonder Woman, where the domestic box office matched or usurped the international box office. That'll be a high-end market. It'll be a high-end domestic opening weekend, since DCEU's 2016's Batman vs. Superman, it made $166 million, as you guys know. Everybody was hyped for that BVS movie. It was supposed to be the biggest thing ever. It was supposed to bring in $2 billion easy. It couldn't even bring in $1 billion. Heck, it couldn't even bring in $900 million. That was a disaster, a flop, a huge disappointment for DC Studios. And that started to trickle down for all the things happening here. Look, here are the top 5 opening domestic DC EU movies. As you can see, BVS with $166 million. That's Suicide Squad. This is the David Ayer Suicide Squad from 2017. A lot of y'all don't realize Suicide Squad made almost $800 million. That movie was successful. $133 million opening weekend. Man of Steel did $116 million opening weekend. I believe that movie ended with around $668 million. Wonder Woman. I don't know if you have noticed, but do you guys see the Snyderverse starting high and then just plummeting after every movie that comes out? BVS, 166. Suicide Squad, 133. Man of Steel. Well, Man of Steel technically started it off, so. Wonder Woman, 103. Then Justice League, 93. It was just a lack of confidence. It was a lack of confidence. People were like, man, I'm tired of this ugly looking DC gloomy shit. And then Wonder Woman paid for it, bro. Wonder Woman made only $103 million. Now, for 2017, with all that just bad publicity, man, all the BS that Patty's movie had to go through for it to still bring $103 million is a revelation. It's amazing. The fact that it did that was great. But if we looking back at it, like, we see what the movie was, it was such a great movie. It deserved more than $103 million opening weekend. There's MCU movies that are doing that, and they're the mediocre end of the trough type of movies that don't really matter. Justice League, $93 million. This was shocking to me, bro. God dang. Look how low the stock for DC was. Look at how bad it was. $93 million for a Justice League movie. That's how bad people saw the Snyderverse. This is you can't fight these numbers. Man of Steel, it started it off 116. It's fair. But you see the downward trajectory from BVS to Suicide Squad to Wonder Woman to Justice League. It just shows how people just wasn't feeling it. Should The Flash reach the high end of the total domestic numbers, now it's going to be next to Wonder Woman. Look at how good Wonder Woman did. Look at what word of mouth does. Wonder Woman brought in $412 million. Did you guys know that Wonder Woman is the highest grossing DCEU movie? Even more so than BVS and Aquaman? Did you know it's number 1? Because people love the film. It had legs. People went to go see it. That's what a good movie will do. People will go see a good movie that has good word of mouth. And it's sad because even though this is just a powerhouse number, all the hate and all the issues and the way people felt about DC, people still will come. Even though it was like, no, watch that Wonder Woman. No, I'm good on that dark, gloomy stuff. Nah, this Wonder Woman's fire. Go see it. Take your daughter. And people went to go see it. $412 million, bro. Huge W. Aquaman. Epic. $1.2 billion. $1.1 billion the movie made. Shout out to China. $335 million domestically. So Wonder Woman and Aquaman outdid BVS. BVS, $333 million. That's a good number. Suicide Squad, $325. Isn't that insane to see that Suicide Squad was $5 million away from outdoing BVS? The Suicide Squad C-list team outdoing Batman and Superman. This is just a huge indictment on exactly how Snyder hoed the DCEU, bro. Man of Steel, $291 million. So if Flash does what I think it's going to do, between $400 and $450 million, then it has the opportunity of being number one and beating out Wonder Woman. But there's no shame in going in between Aquaman and Wonder Woman. That'll be fire too. On to the next amount of news. Did you guys know that Fandango wants to play some games with the IMAX? Is like, yo, they quoted Batman by saying, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." Bro, look what they did. Look what they did. They said, want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. On June 12th, for DC fans, come and watch the screening here first for the fans. They're allowing fans to come and see the movie 3 days early before it releases on June 15th. I know they say the 16th, but the Thursday screenings count. So 3 days early from the 15th, they'll be able to come and watch it in IMAX 3 days early, bro. I said for sure. A lot of my subscribers already got those fan screenings and are doing it. People hitting me up and stuff like that. So that's cool. So I just told myself like, dang, let me check and see what's going on, man. Let's see the temperature about these fan screenings. I'm like, I go to my 3 theaters right here that are closest to me and stuff. So I'm checking it out. I'm like, okay, let me see Santa Monica. What Santa Monica do? Gone. Empty. Not a single. It's once. Oh, that seat just popped up. B18 just popped up. Y'all, should I get it? I already seen the movie. Then I go to Burbank. Let's see what Burbank look like. Gone. Ain't nothing but handicap seats. Freak. All right. What about Irvine? That's far away. Only the front. So there is still some time if you're in the LA area to come and get some of these blue seats. But that just shows me that this movie, a lot of people are going to watch this thing, yo. A lot of people are going to watch this thing, and this will make money. On to some other news. Guys, James Gunn is saying this is not going to be the same run-of-the-mill. I'm putting these words in. MCU formula-ish type of movies with the DCU. The MCU did it, but the DCU, he promises, is going to have interesting type of films involved. He says, I am hiring great directors and great writers. It's going to be interesting stuff, if nothing else. That's what I'd rather make. Stuff that's interesting and doesn't work, rather than stuff that is just the same old thing and that we've seen again and again. I gotta kind of challenge him on that, bro, because that's kind of what you did with the Guardians of the Galaxy, though. But I understand that you was a company man playing the role, going with the Feige Disney brand. But Guardians of the Galaxy, all 3 of those movies are similar. All 3 of those movies have certain type of repetitive type of tones and narratives and stuff. I understand he's going to come in DC and he's the boss now, so he's going to be able to flex and pull his cock out. So that's going to be fire. Okay, I get it. He also says, more cap, he says, Infinity War and Endgame were totally unique. The first Shazam movie was high concept comedy. So I think that there's been really interesting films. I wish there were more, but yeah, once again, a little bit more cap. Infinity War was very much a lot like a lot of other MCU movies. It was more serious, but it still had the formula, right? Now, Endgame, you could argue Endgame had that real dark type of real, there was death, blood. I'm like, man, Endgame is still probably the most serious MCU movie out to date. You could argue, since Phase 4 is out and Phase 5 is out, I think Eternals and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness are in contention. Those are the top 3 serious movies. Endgame, Eternals, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Those are the top 3 dark movies for me. But other than that, I think that Infinity War and Endgame were just mid. All right, guys, here is the last piece of juice. It's more shocking to me than anything because it's about James Gunn. This fool James Gunn has prided himself for years calling people out on Twitter. Like when Grace Randolph makes up lies over and over again, right? And he'll check her shit. When bloggers and websites make up lies, he'll check them. It's getting so bad because everybody wants to know about Superman Legacy. When this movie comes out, it's going to be big. Superman Legacy could be $1 billion film. I believe it will be $1 billion film. It's getting so heavy right now. People are sniffing around so bad to see what's going on with Superman Legacy that James says, I'm quitting, bro. And what he's quitting He's quitting, calling people out, and confirming things. And he has a really good reasons why he's doing it. He says, I'm getting barraged with bullshit DC rumors this morning. I'll just reiterate the general rule to not believe anything unless it comes from me or Peter. But unless it's especially egregious, I'm going to slow down on calling shit out. He says, sorry, I know it's one of my favorite traditions. There are 3 reasons for this, and he has good reasons. 1, some people are making up lies just to get attention from me to get clicks, and I don't want to encourage that. Thumbs up. Number 2, he says, I've read 100 rumors this morning. One of them is half true, so I don't want to be used as a way for people to throw nonsense at the wall until something sticks. Yes, I agree. Number 3, I'm storyboarding Superman Legacy, and I don't have time. Have a great day. I know some people don't like the fact that James Gunn calls people out. He be on Twitter, but I do. I love it. But these reasons right here, I absolutely agree with him 100%. All 3 of them. Just take a step back. He said when they're really egregious, he said, he'll say something. But for the most part, James Gunn is hanging it up, retiring, and doing what? Working on Superman Legacy. He doesn't have time. He's really taking this movie seriously because let's keep it a buck. This is game 7 in the finals, and it's Kobe. You're going to make the shot, you're going to miss the shot. That's exactly what this is for James Gunn. He's the one that made the DCEU, right? He's the one heading the DCEU. He's the one hyping it up. He's the one promoting it. He's the one in charge. He's the one making the decisions. He's the boss, right? And then he put that pressure of making the Superman movie, him directing and writing it. Bro, this is exactly what it is. Game 7, are you going to make or miss this shot? I think that Superman Legacy is going to be one of the best superhero movies ever made because he's just the greatest superhero ever made. People think it's hard to make a Superman movie. Those are people who don't know about movies. Superman is an easy movie to make if you know the character. So much meat in that story, bro. There's so much amazing, heartwarming, tear-jerking moments that Superman could develop and envelop. It's just, I could go on all day. Superman Legacy is coming. DC Rises in the bag. Make sure you guys subscribe to Jody's Corner because DC Rises is every Wednesday right here on Jody's Corner, bro. We're doing it. DC Rises. Hashtag put it in the sky. We rising. We out. Deuces.